Rick Stroud back here on the Rich Eisen Show, who covers this great team, one of the team that I'm winning for, who I believe is winning the Super Bowl, the Tampa Bay Times. How are you, sir?
Hey, Rich, I'm doing well.
So, what'd you make of last night, Rick? What came out of last night's game, do you think?
Win. That was really about it. I mean, we always say, do teams look ahead, and of course they, you can only play the game in front of you. But even Bruce Arians was nervous about that game with the Giants. The night before the game, to his team, he did the old, write the word assume up there, right, and circled it in certain ways and told people,
is that what he did?
Hey guys, don't assume. Yeah, he wrote it on a chalkboard, and he let them know that you can't go out there and think that the Giants, because of their record, are gonna just gonna lay down and you're the Bucs and that's all it's going to take. So he was pretty plugged into the fact that they may have to struggle in that one, and it was a struggle. It's weird, Rich, like just the very atmosphere of MetLife, and I've seen this a couple times with this team. Saw it in Chicago, a little bit in the beginning of the game against the Raiders. When they go to these stadiums and there's nobody, and I mean nobody in there except, players and coaches, you do have to gin up some energy, and they weren't able to do that early on. Now, that's not an excuse, but the game's played by human beings, and I think they were just happy to get out of there, with a win. And I thought the Giants played really, really well. And I thought, they had a good plan for the Bucs, and they got the win, and that's really all they went there for.
Interesting. So you're saying again, because there was a struggle, as we all know, in Week 1 where there was no fans in the Superdome, that they are in spots where there are no fans because Tampa has been letting fans in, if I'm not mistaken, since Week 4 against the Chargers, that they have begun
Right.
playing in front of a small audience, that void affects them, is what you're saying.
I think it does, yeah, and I can't explain it. I mean, it probably affects a lot of teams. It's just different, and when you see, it's Monday Night Football, right? And so, players are conditioned. I mean, this is the only game on TV. They want to play well. They know everybody's watching, and so you kind of get the anxiety. And you come pulling up to MetLife, and you walk in, and it's not like you see on TV where they pipe in the crowd, and it's just different, And football is one of those games where, I don't know, you can feel the energy, and they didn't feel it, and they were on their heels quite a bit early on, and so I just think they got to do a better job of being able to start fast. And there's some things that happen. I mean, Brady comes out at 4-for-4, and then 2 bad snaps by Ryan Jensen below his feet. All of a sudden the timing of the throw is off, and and you have to kick a field goal. So those things happen. But credit the Giants for playing really well, and the Bucs were fortunate. They picked up a flag and they got out of there with a win.
Rick Stroud of the Tampa Bay Times here on the Rich Eisen Show. Let's talk Antonio Brown. Was this a given? I mean, was this a foregone conclusion that Brady was going to get him, and that he has been a guiding hand in all this, despite what Bruce Arians and Jason Light has said on the subject matter?
Yeah, I think Tom has been behind this from the beginning. Now, if they weren't 4-2, or weren't in a situation that they were in, I don't know that they'd do it just to do it. I think that. When they went to Chicago and they had so many guys hurt at that position, they weren't practicing. Mike Evans was playing. He probably shouldn't have. Scotty Miller was hurt that day. I don't think he got a target. And then all the other receivers, of course, Chris Godwin and other guys had been out. I think it drove home the point that, look, we can have Tom Brady and this good defense and everything else, but if these guys can't get on the field with them, it's going to be really hard to win. So, they were looking for depth at the position. They just haven't been able to keep everybody, together, healthy. And then, there was Antonio's suspension coming up. So the more they thought about it, they got guys on the staff, Byron Leftwich, Larry Foote, and, Antoine Randall that were teammates of this guy. And, look, if Tom's going to let him live at his house, I mean, at least he's got to ride to work every day. After a while, it starts to sound like, as good as it gets, where he's Jack Nicholson saying, "You make me want to be a better man." It's kind of I guess that'd make Brady Helen Hunt, but it's just it's kind of worked out that way. But I think Tom's going to get guys that he wants to play with, that he's comfortable. And look, if he can play, I mean, when he's motivated, he's one of the best receivers of all time.
Well, I mean, I don't think there's any if. I think, we're going to see the Antonio Brown that we know. I mean, even in the cup of coffee that he had last year with the Patriots before another allegation was made known and then blew that whole situation up when he started denigrating Robert Kraft on social media, we saw that he was the same old Antonio Brown, and Brady must know that too. The question is has there been some sort of social media ban put in place by the Bucs? I mean, I know that Tom is I'm serious, man. I know that Tom is his landlord and friend and compatriot and I guess watcher. But what about the phone? I mean, I'm serious, Rick. Has that been put in place? Best you can tell.
It would not surprise me if they told him he needs to stay off of that, and other things. I mean, Bruce told him, he goes, look, it's going to be work, home. Well, in this case, Brady's home, but work, home, and then back to work again. Like you're just, with the COVID protocol, it takes you, a week and a half to get these guys through it, and you can't go anywhere. They certainly don't want him, on social media. I mean, that blew up in his face everywhere he's been. And so, I'm sure in talking to the guys over there, they think that even Antonio realizes that, Bruce said he believes in second chances. This is like his fourth or fifth chance. And, he blew up the three teams that had either draft picks or money invested in them, and they don't have the money invested in them. It's pay to play, the way it's structured. So if he wants to play, here's his opportunity with a really good team that could go to a Super Bowl, and he can play with Tom. And, Tom's not putting his legacy out there, but a little bit of his reputation, maybe, to stand up for this guy. So we'll see. We'll talk to Antonio this week and kind of get a better feel. But he's still got some issues ahead of him off the field, and on the field though, they could use him.
When does that happen? Wednesday, when you get the chance to speak to Antonio?
Wednesday, yeah, tomorrow. I mean, he's able to. There's nothing going on today because I think they're all off to vote and whatnot. Yep. Of course, the Bucs are off, but yeah, we'll see him at practice.
Hey, look, to meet Rick Stroud of the Tampa Bay Times here on the Rich Eisen Show, I said it when Brown got signed, that it seems to me that Brady has moved into his new house, if you will, and I don't mean his actual, Jeter Mance. I'm talking about his new football house, and he has rearranged the furniture to his liking. I mean, he has set everything up. He's got the film room here, and he's got the furniture the way that he likes it, and he feels comfortable in his house right now, that he's set things up the way he likes it and is comfortable in it. Would you agree that he has reached a comfort level in entering this Week 9 contest against the Saints that he clearly did not have in Week 1 going into that game?
Oh, yeah. I mean, look, they if you look at the first couple of weeks as what would have been a preseason, right? His first three games, he goes 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Well, what happens after that? Well, all of a sudden, now he's 17 touchdowns, 1 pick. So he's definitely more comfortable. I can only imagine what it's like for the Patriots. I mean, it's like that country song, "That's my girl, my whole world," but that ain't my truck. When the guy drives by his house, right? Mm. He's watching him win all these games in a different uniform. But he's very much at home, I think, and yet. He's also driving home the point to his teammates that even when you don't play well like they did, last night, or play as well as they need to, you got to find ways to win these games. And Rich, I've seen them lose 100 of these games,
right?
Probably 200 or 300 of these games where you don't play very well, and that doesn't happen. You don't walk out of there with a victory. And believe me, I mean, when they won the Super Bowl, they've only been 6-2 3 times in this franchise's history, if you can believe that. And the last time was 2002 when they won the Super Bowl. And I guarantee you, those games, there were some pretty ugly games on the way to beating the Raiders in San Diego in Super Bowl 37. And no one talks about them, but you just got to find a way to win them.
So a couple of quick hitters for you going out the door, Rick. So what's Godwin's status? Is he coming back Sunday? You think?
Well, I think they'll probably give him another week. I mean, it's possible. They said from the beginning that he could be back. He's still got those fingers taped together. It's going to be a pain-type threshold thing. But with Antonio coming I don't necessarily think they'll rush him back. They just got to get him healthy for more than a few weeks. Sorry, missed 4 games.
And so I guess this is a first-class problem, and you said that Brown was partially born out of the fact that their injury level at the position was very high. How does it work when everyone is back healthy? How will this actually work?
Well, I expect them, losing O.J. Howard changed sort of the dynamic. They were a 2 tight end team for a big part of the year, and they'll still play 3 tight ends when they want to pound it. They've been using Joe Haig in some situations, but I think you're going to see a lot more 4 wide receiver sets. They did some of that a couple of weeks ago, and it looked pretty good against the Raiders. And, you get as many guys on the field as you can. They can't double everybody. So I think that's probably the way they'll go. I mean, I think you're still going to see Scotty Miller. I mean, he'd be the guy probably, that Antonio most resembles. But they'll make use of all of them for sure.
And then last one for you, Rick. The biggest conversation, I think, on Twitter last night during the game and afterwards was the way Arians looked on the sideline with the face shield that when it rested on his face with his glasses made it look like he was wearing 2 pairs of glasses. And then the headset with, I guess, the communication box right across his chest in a manner that I don't think I've ever seen from any coaches. Did anyone bring this up to Arians post-game at all?
Nah, Bruce isn't into. He's too cool to not be able to pull that off. Even with that big electronic box on his chest, I don't know what that's supposed to be. It looked like a video game or something, but I'm glad he just survived it. He's 6 to 8 years old, man, standing on that sideline as cold as it was.
No, I know.
I was worried about him.
Well,
he looked like he put through some stuff. But yeah, I'll have to talk to Bruce here in a little bit on this conference call and see if they can't give him a better look than that.
Rick, I'd like to know. It's not. Look, hey, whatever works, but this is a choice, and I don't know if it's like if he wears that around his waist, that it hurts his back in a way. That they came up with a way where it's just right there. It's his. I'm sure it's one of those communication boxes. You press a button and you're talking to the rest of the coaching staff. Literally was resting on his chest, and I've never seen that. He had also, obviously his trademark lid. It's just, this is a choice, and I'd love to know about it. That's all I'm saying.
I'll certainly ask him. I think he's happy with the visor, though. I think he likes that better than the mask.
Okay, very good. Rick, thanks for the call. Appreciate it. I know you just got off a plane. Let's chat down the line. You are covering a major player in the 2020 NFL season. No doubt about it. That is a fact. But you knew that.
Yeah. Well, it's been different, and yeah, I appreciate you having me on, Rich. Thanks so much.
You got it. At NFL Stroud on both Twitter and Instagram. Tampa Bay Times. Rick Stroud right here on The Rich Eisen Show. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.